Now, I'm going to come straight to us. See, we think that the house that we own is ours. By eminent domain, they can take your house for the public well-being, highways, construction, and whatnot. But since 2005, there was a Supreme Court ruling that allows the state, the city, or the federal government to take all properties and assign the deed to somebody else. So don't get carried away thinking that you own something. Because in the slave code of laws, it was against the law for a black man to own property. Is Brother Howard Morgan here? My brother. In the slave code of laws, it was against the law for a slave to own a weapon. And I don't care if you think you have a legal right to have a weapon. When these white officers see you and they say, nigger with a weapon, either you die or God bless you. Howard Morgan, stand up a minute, dear brother. This brother a former police officer. Driving one night, he had his weapon. He was legal. He didn't steal the weapon someplace. He had a legal right to have it. But they shot this brother 28 times. And we are lucky. We are fortunate. We already got the victory, Brother Howard, because you are still alive. So listen, don't get happy over what you think you own. The Quran tells you that he's going to try us with something of fear and hunger and loss of property and loss of life. So give good news to those who are patient. In Iraq, a certain sheikh owned a villa. The soldiers went in and put the sheikh out and took that man's villa and used it as a command post. Now I'm going to go to the suspension of the Constitution and what that will bring. And then we can close this. Now look, America is definitely in trouble. So she keeps us and the public popping our fingers, see? You learning a new dance and you out there dancing while the world is collapsing around you. You took your clothes off, sister. You ain't no hoe. You the woman of God. You just need to know who you are and be yourself. But he, the enemy, took your clothes off so that this man won't have a sane thought in his mind. Because it's impossible for him to think sane with your boobs and your butt in his face. And you know it. You know that's your power. And you feel you are powerless if Elijah Muhammad dresses you. I ain't coming in no mosque and wear no long dress. Hell no. Ain't nobody gonna cover my buns, because this is bootylicious. And how can I get these men to start drooling over me if I don't show them something? And what they see is what they get. And what you sold is what you got. You bought a John. You bought somebody that treats you like a hoe. How many of you are in a union, some kind of union? Would you raise your hands? Raise them high. I want to see, you know. Good. Now, at the turn of the century, there were no unions. And management was messing over labor. People working in coal mines with no protection. People working in sweatshops with no protection. So the rise of the coal workers union, the steel workers union, the laborers unions began to get better wages, better benefits for the worker. You threaten the management. You don't come across, we strike. When you strike, they lose money. After a while, they bow down and they give you an increase in salary, an increase in benefits, but the price of the commodity that you were making goes up. Now, China has become the world's factory. Hey, excuse me. When I was a youngster, when I bought a jacket, it said in the back, "Made in America." When I bought a pair of shoes, "Made in America." When I bought underwear, "Made in America." Everything you got on, I know you look nice, but from your shoes to what you got on your head is made someplace else. Well, hell, if somebody else is making our clothes, making our shoes, making our underwear, then why do you think the factories are closing? Because American management cannot compete. So America's management and corporate bosses have gone overseas to cheap labor markets. You're not going to work for the money that they work for in China, in Taiwan, in Indonesia, and in other parts of the world. So your union job now, management is saying, well, look, I'm going to have to lay off so many and so many workers. And I'm sorry, you've been here 20 years, but you're the first to go. Management is saying to those that stay, I have to cut some of your benefits, because if you don't agree to a 10 or 15% cut in your salary and a cut in your benefits, I'm going to have to close the factory and you'll be out of a job. So now management is forcing labor to bow down. Now here's how this thing is going. the one thing that America cannot have is internal strife. Because once internal strife develops, all the investors know that this is not a good economy to invest in, and then they start moving their money away from dollars and they call for what they've invested. So look at where America is headed. The people are being taxed more and more. How much did you pay to fill up your gas tank? Electricity in Chicago went up 22%. Your salary didn't go up. So the more it costs for you to live, the less your standard of living is. And the angrier you become. As the dollar begins to fall, who's going to pay the police? Who's going to pay the sheriffs? Who's going to pay the firemen? The protectors of the order of the society are going to revolt if they don't get a means of exchange. The country is headed for revolution. Oh, listen, because you're going to run into every word that I have said. You will not make me out of a liar.